Analysis of human psychology in Proverbs 14. Brothers and sisters, our society today is caught in a fierce whirlwind of conflict. It feels like we are surrounded by anger and hostility. Tragically, the church, which is called to be the salt and the light of the world, is often criticized for fueling these divisions by getting trapped in partisan politics. Why have we become so deeply divided? Why do we harbor such animosity toward one another? Proverbs chapter 14, written thousands of years ago, holds up a mirror to our hearts by reflecting the deep psychological mechanisms of human behavior. It reveals where we went wrong and points us toward the path of true healing. The first psychological trap Proverbs warns us about is self-deception. Proverbs 14:12 cautions, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Human beings are incredibly fragile. When we are blinded by our own interests and convictions, we willfully ignore the warning signs. In psychology, this is called confirmation bias. Seeing only what I want to see and believing only what I want to believe. Even within the church, we sometimes mistake a specific political stance for the absolute will of God, falling into a collective blind spot. The remedy Proverbs offers is found in verse 16. The healthy reverence of the wise. We need the humility to admit we might be wrong. This requires self-awareness, the ability to step back and look at ourselves objectively. When we acknowledge our own imperfections and lay down our biases before the word of God, the church can finally stop causing conflict and start healing it. This coming week, when you encounter someone with a different opinion, I challenge you to pause before reacting. Step back, listen, and choose humility. The second toxic emotion tearing our communities apart from inside out is envy. Verse 30 delivers a sobering warning. Envy rots the bones. At the root of so much modern conflict is a deep sense of relative deprivation. Viewing someone else's success or happiness as a direct threat to our own. When we carry this envy, the chronic stress physically takes a toll on our bodies. Science now proves that it literally weakens our immune systems. The Bible's warning that envy rots the bones is not just a metaphor. It is a reality. Sad still, the church has sometimes catered to this public resentment, turning against marginalized groups out of the fearful protective mindset that says they are taking what is ours. Proverbs commands us to cure this destructive mindset by shifting our focus. Verse 21 reminds us, "Blessed is the one who is kind to the needy." The only antidote to envy and resentment is empathy and compassion. Instead of envying those who get ahead or pushing away those who are vulnerable, We must learn to genuinely celebrate others' achievements and wipe away the tears of those who are hurting. When we practice this kind of love, our own hearts begin to heal. Finally, the greatest strength Proverbs offers us is the ability to maintain inner peace. Verse 29 says, "Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but one who has a quick temper displays folly." Today, we are bombarded by a constant stream of provocative media and social media, leaving many of us in a state of chronic frustration. Anger spreads like a wildfire, quickly jumping from one person to an entire group. In the midst of this explosive environment, Christians must model emotional resilience, the capacity to recover our composure and peace. The peace Proverbs talks about is not passive or lazy. It is an intentional spiritual stillness, shalom. It means creating a whole space between the provocation and our response, rather than immediately blowing up. This kind of composure is only possible when we genuinely believe that God is in control of the world, not us. On the cross, Jesus faced ultimate mockery and answers. Yeah, he never retaliated with anger. He endured the hostility and through his silence established true peace. The message of Proverbs 14 is clear. The state of our hearts ultimately determines the direction of our lives and the future of our society. Self-deception and unchecked envy lead to ruin, but humility and resilience are the greatest safeguard of our souls. This week, whenever you feel anger rising or find yourself triggered, I pray you will react instantly. Take a deep breath and invite the peace of the cross into that moment. When you hold back a sharp word and choose to be slow to anger, God's healing resilience goes to work within us. Let us refuse to be swept up in the world's outrage. May our churches and our lives become conduits of true peace, silencing conflict through Christ-like humility and calm.